folks, the Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor, and when last we left off, we've pretty much finished exploring the sewers, if this map is anything to go by. There's a little area there might be something here, and there's an area here. And we've also cleared out pretty much all the loot that we can find on the various rogues that tried to kill us, which means we now have 1,848 sovereigns. We also have 99% haggling on Owen. Just a little more Owen, and then you will be the master of haggling. But there may still be a little bit more loot in our future that gives us the opportunity to do that before we even finish this chapter, as I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last dungeon of the chapter. Oh, and maybe we have our opportunity here for some loot. So let us get our lockpicks ready, and let us get a spell cast. The spell, of course, being Sensing Trapped Chests. And it doesn't seem to be trapped. I believe it is safe. Shall we attempt to open it? Yes, we shall. Now, let's look at this. Locklear frowned. I can try picking it, but I don't guarantee success by any means, he said, slipping open the pouch of pick locks. The lock looks complicated. I'll give it a go. I'm not doing well here. Nope, we are not doing well. Fifth attempt may work? Nope. Sixth attempt? Seventh? Oh, so much for that pair of picklocks. I don't think we're going to be getting into this. Did, however, get a little bit of lockpick ability, though. Your lockpick has now gone up to 54. Maybe that's going to make all the difference. It's not going to make all the difference. It's not. Nope. Nope. No. I think we're gonna stop there before we lose too many more. Anything over here? No, it's a dead end. Right, so I think we now need to start trying those ladders. The ones that lead up. One of them will get us to... Oh, there goes the light. One of them will get us to the palace. At least that's the hope. Right, oh, we want to try this one first, as it's the closest. Why not? And this is when it's literally the one that leads to the palace. Let's give it a go. Oh, don't make it disappear. The ladder disappeared into a small dark hole in the ceiling. Climbing several rungs, Gorath turned to the others and called down, "There's a locked grate up here. Shall we try to open it?" Let's give it a go with the key. Oh wow, we actually got it right first time. Ho-ho! With a pleasant click, the key turned in the metal lock. Locklear turned to his companions and motioned for them to follow him up the ladder. The gate swung open. Revolted by the thick scent of excrement in the chamber, Locklear hastened to the ladder affixed on the far wall and ascended its filth-slick rungs. Behind him, Gorath and Owen reluctantly did likewise, gaffing on the noxious vapours in the shaft. "This is nothing," Locklear grunted, shoving upwards against the grating. "All the windows in the palace are open right now. You ought to smell it in the winter." Darkness surrounded them as they slithered out of the privy, their only impressions of the chamber provided by the faint flicker of distant firelight. 10 yards before them, the hall joined with an elaborate colonnade stretching in either direction. Somehow I hadn't pictured my first time in Krondor like this, Owen sighed, falling blindly into step behind Gorath and the senior. "What, you didn't like the romantic tour?" Locklear chuckled. "Not many people get to see that way into the palace." Drawing up short, Locklear's features brightened as he observed a pair of approaching figures lost in conversation. Self-conscious of his bedraggled condition, he straightened his uniform and cleared his throat with a stentorian air. "Greetings, Prince Arutha and Master Magician Pug." "Oh! As glad as I am at the sight of you safely home again, Locklear, I can't say that my nose is as well pleased. I thought we had broken you and Senior James of clamouring around in the sewers." You know the way of old habits, Highness. We encountered a bit of trouble with the gates, and so I chose a more expedient, though somewhat more disagreeable path. It came to a happy end, however. James told us to send word that he is well, and would see you in the morning. Incurable sewer rats to both of you. I shall have to order that each of you be accompanied by a score of washing maidens to keep you presentable enough for court. Welcome home, Lockie. Thank you. As happy as I am to be here, I'm afraid I come with bad news from the Northlands. Here we go. Also, person in the background there looks a little suspicious. Just calling it now, something bad's going to happen there. I expected as much. With the false Nighthawks prowling my streets above and below, it could only mean the moredhel are up to their old mischief. What do you know? Motioning to Gorath, Locklear introduced the former moredhel chieftain with a wave. Slowly, Gorath lowered his hood. The gasps and startled reactions of those crowding the hall helped mask the stealthy entrance of a second moredhel in the chamber, this one armed with a longbow. Assassin, get down! Oh! That was some quick reactions there, Pug. Chapter 2, Shadow of the Nighthawks. We're out of Chapter 1, everyone! Hooray! A whisper led him through madness. He stumbled forward with unfamiliar feet 10 times too small to belong to a warrior. There were lights on the hill around him. Fires, voices shouting through a downpour of sloshing hoofbeats. He reached for his sword, then remembered that he hadn't a sword that night. He had only been a boy of 12 midsummers. Only a boy, and yet he led the ragged remains of his father's tribe. Who leads the moredhel? The whispering voice insisted in his head. I must see more. Years. A river of men coursed together at a bleeding tide, and he was amidst them. Screams rang. A howling figure silhouetted himself against the moon and brandished a bloody sword aloft. The wolfish figure screamed words of wrath and damnation as he cleaved his way through his moredhel brothers. He was Delacon, former general of Mermandamus, leader of the unified tribes of the Northland, and he was the enemy. Gorath! The memory detonated into a million fading thoughts, each fleeing after the faint echoes of a weak whisper. Before him now there was a new image, the face of a fair young girl whose pale blue eyes watched him with weary interest. There were others too, all seated like himself around a polished council table, all studying, all dissecting, and Gorath was the object of their scrutiny. I cannot find the truth, my prince, the tired girl whispered finally, quietly. His mind is chaotic. I find images, but I cannot hold them long enough to understand. Narrowing his dark eyes, Prince Arutha glared at Gorath. He hides his thoughts? Gorath is moredhel, Pug quickly interceded for his exhausted daughter. Even with Gamina's exceptional talent for sensing thoughts, his mind may have many innate psychic defenses. I may need to send for one of my advanced students. No need to disturb studies, Master Magician Pug. The moredhel speaks truly. Council members exchanged surprised glances, then turned their attention to the aged magician seated next to Pug. Lowering his eyes, the man made a dismissive gesture. Forgive me, I did not mean to presume. But I have looked into his mind as well, Makala continued. War in the kingdom would have many wide-ranging effects, not the least of which would lead to a disruption of trade between our two worlds. My emperor of Suranani would be most displeased if our rift-making secrets were seized by barbarians in warfare. Gorath glowered at the Surani magician. Trading agreements notwithstanding, the moredhel watch your borders. Nighthawks spy on your imperial cousins, and before the snows there shall be an army come to the kingdom. Heed my words, Prince of Krondor. You must prepare your troops. Anger flashed in the thunderheads of Arutha's eyes as he rose to his feet. What I must or must not do will not be dictated by a dissident moredhel. If not for Locklear's good faith in you, I would have had your head staked on a pole and paraded up and down the low quarters of Krondor once I saw you. I have been tolerant while I listened to your vague speculations based on incidental half-heard conversations, but how am I to believe what you say? What evidence have you laid before this council to prove what Delacon intends to do? What evidence? I bear the humiliation of betraying my vow as a moredhel and the indignity of surrendering to a sworn enemy. Why betray Delacan to the Kingdom of the Isles? Of what benefit to you is it to snare him? He is a leader in name only. However bitter a draught Delacan may be for your kith and kin to drink, magician, his rule is black poison in the gullets of me and mine. Already he enslaves my cousin and rapes the land. Bloody his nose, Prince of Krondor. Blunt his swords, and the unified tribes will cast him down in wrath. Let him cross your northern borders, however, and 10 other clans will join their strength to his, and the legacy of Mermandamus will be but a spark next to his legacy. Where would you have me send my troops? If indeed he intends to strike against one of our northernmost possessions, which castles shall I garrison for the next attack? High Castle, Iron Pass, North Warden? If I'm to fight a war, by my teeth, tell me where you would have me fight it. Would that I could tell you. Delacan holds in good confidence only a handful of cowering dogs, and among them only a few are privy to his war plans. His private councils are restricted to choice individuals, his advisors Narab and Nargo, his mistress Lillian, his son moredhel, and Nighthawks. He keeps foul company, that leader of yours. Your Highness, if you give me leave, I believe I can find the evidence of Delacan's intent. I will need someone to accompany me to Romney, and supplies for my journey and a small parcel of gold. Romney? What do you think you can find in a provincial river town in the heart of the kingdom? I aim to catch a bird in flight. Of late Delacan has emptied a good deal of his treasury to revive the service of the Nighthawks. In exchange he has demanded tactical information about kingdom holdings. He's turned the Guild of Assassins into a guild of spies. Only for a time. Although the payments have been left in various hidden locales, the messengers were always sent to a rendezvous in Romney. If I go there, I may be able to intercept information concerning a forthcoming attack. Would such evidence suffice? Perhaps. Damn me, but I don't trust you, Gorath. How do I know that this isn't a plot of yours? We can weigh the evidence to our heart's content, and your cousins could be slitting the throats of my serfs as we sit dawdling. Go to Romney, but you will provide for yourself. If this is part of some secret moredhel scheme, I'll not look the fool before the world. Pug, unroll the map for me. The scroll smelled of dust. Scrawled in chicken scratches and spider tracks, tiny lines staggered across the moth-eaten paper, indicating the paths that were the major roads within the kingdom. Pointer in hand, Arutha bent over the map and pointed to a large black dot. We are here in Krondor. At dawn tomorrow you will leave through the main gate and rendezvous with your escort, Signor James. I know you might have preferred Locklear's company, but he has business elsewhere. You will head to Romney. Providing one of Delacan's assassins doesn't slit your throat first, you should reach the Ursine Ford within the month. In Romney you will join a special detachment of King Liam's soldiers staying at the Black Sheep Tavern. They may be of service to you. Nodding, Gorath took in Arutha's advice, listening seriously as the prince reviewed the details. If you find the evidence, I will act only when James has conveyed the information to me. Is that clear? Only when I receive James's word. Until then, I wait. Understood, Gorath replied. Good, Arutha replied, slapping the surface of a table with his palm. Looking around the council chamber, he noted the wearied expressions of all who sat around the map. Why don't you let Gamia and Makala show you around Krondor? I have a few things I need to consider alone. Reading the offers of polite dismissal, the worn council members began to file out the door, most glad to be on their feet again following the grueling session. As Pug passed, however, Arutha snagged his sleeve and drew him back to the table. If you don't mind, I would have your counsel, Cousin Pug. Certainly, Pug replied, resuming his seat. I am all attention. As I see it, Delacan could have only 2 potential targets for attack into the kingdom. High Castle, I like the little pointer, and North Warden. His fortress at Sarsagoth is 300 miles to the north, and I doubt he has the resources to defend a line that long. So an attack at North Warden seems unlikely, leaving High Castle, which is a viable alternative, but neither target seems to have an obvious goal. I know you are no field strategist, that you hate to become involved in state matters, but I should like you to delay your return to your home at Stardock for a while. I feel ill at ease. You are not alone in that. I too have sensed something unusual in the air, but I won't ascribe it to anything as dire as magic. More likely we suffer from bad soup. Feelings aside, I will call up the militia reserves from Malek's Cross, Darkmoor, and Leighton to join to a detachment of the Krondorian Lancers just outside of the Dimwood. James will send word to me there. What of the garrison? It will remain in place. I have considered the option of a full push south, and it seems unlikely, but I will give Delacar nothing. Our agreement remains. Now we wait. God's help Gorath if he betrays us to the moredhel. Chapter 2. The majesty of the palace was impressive, drawing appreciative glances of astonishment from all as they wound through room after room of banquet halls, reception areas, and at last a colourfully decorated gymnasium before entering the throne chambers of the Prince of Krondor. Who are we right now? A pleasure to see you again, James. It's Katala. Mine is the greater pleasure, my lady. Is Pug about? You've just missed him. He and Makala went off to discuss magic someplace, and if I know my husband, that means I won't see him for a few days. Even on holiday, he can't seem to take his mind away from the art for long. In many ways, he and the prince are much alike. Where is Arutha anyway? Out with his twins and the Princess Anita. It seems your famed luck is running thin today. Quite the contrary, for I still have your company, if I may have a moment. As much time as you need. What may I do for you? Conversation! I think we're going to be James now instead of Locklear. So, when do I get to meet this stunning daughter of yours? I've heard quite a bit about Gamina, but I've been too busy to make the time to meet her. I imagine you will see her as soon as I do. She's more than likely trailing Pug and Makala around the palace. Any opportunity to hear her father discuss magic and she's immediately at his side. Then, too, it may be she's hiding away from Arutha's twins. She's not quite interested in boys yet. Let's look at magic supplies. I know that quite a few of the artificers in Stardock have begun exporting their goods from the Academy. Are there any good places to buy magical items near here? The most notable one that's close is a little place called Stardock Annex at the Abbey of Ishap at Sarth. Officially, they have no ties with the Academy, but there's not much we can do to keep them from using the name. There's also a fellow by the name of Dabber who buys from us, but he lives a long distance from here, out north of Romney, if I recall. Ooh, good info. Goodbye. There's also sewer and enter. And exit. Let's go to enter. The room was crammed. Locky, James muttered, looking through the senior's personal effects piled in disorganized heaps. You may be a fine swordsman, but your personal organization leaves quite a bit to be desired. Oh, we can take all of his stuff. And we really want all of his stuff because, James's stuff kind of sucks. So let's give you that. Let's give you the amazing sword. You have lockpicks? No. We don't want to give... We want to take the lockpicks. We want to take all the lockpicks. And the crossbow. And this amazing crossbow, which is better than the crossbow you currently have. And again, that crossbow seems... It's a medium crossbow. Experimentally, James snagged the bow back, grunted as it creaked violent complaint. It was a powerful crossbow, strong enough a bolt fired from it would likely puncture a common soldier's armor. That's probably an improvement on what you're using right now. Oh, it certainly is. What else do we have? We have that we definitely want you to possess. We have the rations. I note, by the way, that we don't have Owen. That's a little concerning. Honestly, I think we're gonna let Locklear keep the pouch of random, like, dust. Okay, your inventory is now just laden with stuff. There's only 2 of us, though. I can see your stats now. Defense 55, accuracy 51. You're a sizable bit worse than Locklear at many things. You are a lot better at lockpicking, though. Once known as Jimmy the Hand, Senior James is the son of the Upright Man, the leader of the Thieves Guild in Krondor, though James is not aware of his true heritage. His thieving skills and quickness were legendary, but now, elevated to the nobility by Prince Arutha, Senior James has taken his position of authority very seriously, though he still wanders his old thief haunts in disguise. on occasion. He's extremely loyal to Arutha, and will do anything his liege lord asks him to. Marvellous! So let us get a little bit of improvement here. We could totally just have him read that. We should totally just have... Oh my, your inventory is so full of stuff! Look at all the stuff that you've got here. I mean, you have an armorcraft hammer, and you have 30-odd% in armorcraft. Okay, leave the bolts. Like, we're literally just so full on stuff here. Do you want to leave the lockpicks too? No, we don't want to leave the lockpicks. The lockpicks are way too valuable, but I want to give you the lockpicks right now. And we'll give you the torch. Good thing they gave us torches, by the way, because, we don't have someone that can cast magic. We could exit, or we could take the sewer entrance. You know what? Let's take the sewer entrance. James pulled the grate. Immediately he was overwhelmed by the stench of the sewers and looked back to Gorath for his advice. Can we leave this way? They could be seen. James halted the party to consider. Let's not give Delacan any more help than he needs. If we leave through the palace main gates, we might as well have trumpeters going before us and announce to the fact that everyone within the Kingdom of the Isles. The sewers are probably our best option. So here we go! Back into the sewers. And so, when we come back, folks, we are here in Chapter 2. And it's sewer time! Oh boy! Sewer time. And we're down our magician. Hopefully, we'll be able to deal with this. Do we have the map? We do have the map, which is pretty good. Let's zoom out that map a lot. So the exit is not far away, it's literally just down there, but I'm curious as to if there's any new things we can get. Any new encounters? There might be. Time has passed, and I imagine this place is now crawling with people that we don't want to deal with. That we'll probably have to. Also, it looks like James is just staring at the UI going, what's all of this? Oh, that's just the game interface. The what? Game interface. You mean we're part of a video game? Oh, try not to think about it too much. No, I'm thinking about it. No, please don't. Oh, this is not what I was expecting. Yeah, video games are like that. And so, when we come back, folks, Chapter 2! And there are a couple of things that are now a thing because we're in Chapter 2, and you'll see them soon enough. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.